lively and lovable 9-year-old girl in Minglanilla town, South Cebu. She was a joy to her siblings and a precious treasure to her parents. But one day, they found her with fever. It was not the usual fever that a simple biogesic tablet could take away. It was dengue fever. Small, annoying mosquitoes succeeded in sucking a bit of her blood and injected into her bloodstream a lethal virus that weakened her immune system. In a matter of days, she was gone. The event happened so fast that the family struggled to catch up with the reality. In a blink of an eye, they saw their little darling inside a coffin, cold, pale, and lifeless. There was a smile on her lips, which her beloved ones found difficult to comprehend. Her family was crying in grief. Was she smiling with ecstatic joy to be finally in heaven? I was told her ambition was to be a saint, offering her prayers and sacrifices for her family. But the question persisted. Why this young? And why this way? There are many other why questions with the same magnitude and intensity, difficult to understand. When one is confronted with catastrophic pain, with great suffering, and in front of unspeakable evil and sin, our mind is perplexed and runs out of answers because there seem to be only irrationality and absurdity in the experience. This is, in fact, the experience of God's absence. We live in a culture today when God's absence is often highlighted. The materialistic and consumeristic outlook is continually pushed forward, such that the prevailing contemporary world view becomes homo sine deo, man without God. An immense angst of finding his identity in flattened cosmos, where he feels abandoned and alone. He must rely entirely himself for survival. Some people have actually become victims of cynicism, pessimism, despair, amidst this lack of human misfortune. Jean-Paul Sartre, the French novelist and existentialist philosopher, would affirm that hell is other people. Nevertheless, the human spirit has an amazing capacity to endure, despite the seeming absence of God. It was told that on the wall of a cellar in Cologne, Germany, where Jews had been hiding from Nazis, these words were written: I believe in the sun, even when it is not shining. I believe in love, even when I cannot feel it. I believe in God, even when He is silent. Though these people were forced to the very edge, they were able to rise above their tribulations. They chose to believe despite the absurdity and believing, and left a message of faith and love for generations to emulate. Pope Benedict XVI has written a new book, Jesus of Nazareth. This book is the first of 2-volume series, which is an expression of his personal search for the face of the Lord. It has erudite and profound discussions of the person of Jesus, seen through the lens of scholar, yet it tries to uncover the present image of Christ and His mystery, as interpreted by a believer. It bears no papal authority. It is simply Joseph Ratzinger's personal journey of understanding better and clearer the Jesus in the Gospels. Through it, we see the very heart of Jesus as a person and as a Son of God who broke through our abandonment and offers us His unfathomable love. Through the book, we also see the heart of pastor with humble and gentle spirit. He writes from the conviction that Christianity is not a theory, but an encounter with the person of Jesus. In the opening two chapters, which deal with the baptism and temptation of Jesus, Pope Benedict considers that the heart of temptation for all humans is the inclination to push God aside because we think God as a secondary to the far more urgent matters that fill our lives. Temptation does not invite us directly to do evil, but invites us to make the world a better place by constructing it according to our own lights without reference to God. The world may bombard us with the message that God is absent. Yet, Pope Benedict XVI invites us to meet the person of Jesus, the radiance of God's glory, and the exact representation of His being. Thank you.